What's good, guys? Welcome back to the Unforgotten channel. Today, we will be briefly discussing the heartbreaking case of Timothy Coggins, who was a 23-year-old that was brutalized in 1983. Initially, the case was closed just a few weeks after it was opened, but was later re-examined in 2016. This is a lesser-known case, and it reminds me a bit of Emmett Till's story, so without further ado, let's get into this video. Before his untimely demise, Timothy Coggins was described as being a very charming, vibrant young man with a smile so bright it is still remembered to this day. Timothy was born on August 29, 1960, and grew up in a rural poor town in Georgia. According to his sister, he was very sweet, outgoing, and loved to dance. The 23-year-old was also very protective and always wanted to make sure everyone got home safe, so he would frequently walk his young family members home to ensure just that. Timothy was well known in his town, and so was his family members. He had lots of white friends and oftentimes dated white women, which made him a target in Griffin, Georgia. Since this was the early 1980s, the quote-unquote societal norm was to date inside your race. And although 1983 does not seem that long ago, if you know anything about anything, you know that white men did not play about their white women in that time period. That was definitely the case in Griffin, Georgia, where Timothy resided. Tim, being ahead of his time, did not follow that rule, and this infuriated many racist whites in his area. One night, in October of 1983, while walking, Tim recognized his friend Jesse Gates' vehicle drive past him and waved him down. Jesse Gates was one of the few black officers at the Spalding Sheriff Department and also a longtime friend of Tim's. Tim asked Jesse for a ride to the People's Choice Club, which was a popular club for black people in Griffin, Georgia, and also one of Tim's common hangout spots where he would also do handiwork. Jesse remembers Tim talking about the white woman he was dating during the 15-minute drive to the club. Jesse had warned Tim that he was playing with fire, and it was a dangerous thing for him to do in their area. When they arrived to the club, Jesse saw 3 white men standing outside, which he thought was strange because white guys never went to that club. That made him feel uneasy, but Tim got out of the car and Mr. Gates pulled off, not knowing that would be his last time seeing his friend alive. Tim's younger sister, Talissa, was also in the club that night and witnessed her brother dancing with a white girl. The white lady had been seen there a few weeks earlier, and Talissa just assumed her brother was just teaching her how to dance. During the club, Talissa overheard that a white man was looking for her brother, and as she went to the restroom, she saw Tim walking out with the same man that had been looking for him. When she returned from the bathroom, her brother had already left. On October 9, 1983, a group of hunters discovered remains of a male near a power line in Sunnyside, Georgia. The area was a well-known gathering place for dope deals and parties. The slain man was African American, barefoot, and had been wearing blue jeans and a beige sweatshirt. He had suffered over 30 stab wounds and was tortured. And according to the Spalding County Sheriff's Office, his body had been chained to the back of a vehicle and dragged before it was dumped by a wood pile where he later bled out. He had an X carved on his abdomen and on his back to symbolize the Confederate flag. His genitals and body was badly mutilated, which made him unrecognizable. When the body was found, the Griffin Daily newspaper printed out just 4 short columns about an unidentified black male found in a grassy ditch in Sunnyside, Georgia, who, according to an investigator, had been worked over with a knife pretty well. The following day, sheriff deputies went door to door in Griffin trying to identify the man, and eventually they knocked on Timothy's younger sister's door. Talissa immediately recognized that the slain man had been her older brother, Timothy Coggins. Witnesses at the People's Choice remembered seeing Tim get into a pickup truck with 3 white men, and no one had even realized that Tim had gone missing after the club just a few nights earlier. It was typical for him to disappear for a few days at a time. He knew everyone around town, so it was easy for them to assume that he was just crashing on someone's couch. But they were wrong. This incident shook the Coggins family, and they could not understand who would want to harm unproblematic, easygoing Timothy. Authorities assured the Coggins family that they would get to the bottom of the crime, but as time went on, that never happened. The sheriff's office and GBI observed evidence gathered from the scene and conducted multiple interviews in Tim's case, but no arrests were made. Jesse Gates, who was an active sheriff's deputy at the time, said he believed that Timothy's death was centered around the white woman and money. Notes from the officers who had been working the case at the time indicated that their theory was that Coggins had taken money as a part of a dope deal. Allegedly, Tim was known for making small plays around town, according to authorities. Officer Gates and another sheriff deputy worked the case for weeks until they started getting close to finding a suspect and were taken off. Gates had believed that the suspect was someone who lived in the trailer park near the area where Timothy was found. Officer Jordan said that he was told that the investigation had reached a dead end, whereas Officer Gates was told that it wasn't his job to investigate the case because he was a road deputy and not an investigator. Officer Jordan didn't think that the proper attention was put on the case due to the color of Timothy's skin. The family received a series of threats not long after Timothy's body was found. There was a bloody shirt left on the school bus that Timothy's stepfather drove to school each morning. A brick was thrown into the Coggins home with a note attached saying, "You're next," and there was also a decapitated dog in their home hallway. Neither the threats nor the crime had ever been solved, and Timothy's family never expected it to be. The case grew cold for over 3 decades until it was re-examined and reopened in 2016 due to some new information. Authorities received a crucial tip from a witness which filled in the gaps and helped revive the case. So many tips began coming in after that, and over the next few months, investigators interviewed more than 60 people about Timothy Coggins' death. Frankie Gabhart and Bill Moore Sr. were brothers-in-law who lived in the trailer park near where Timothy's body was found. So apparently, Frankie and William were always suspected by the police, but they escaped prosecution for more than 3 decades due to inconsistent witnesses and a lack of physical evidence. They had bragged to multiple people throughout the years about their barbaric slaying of Timothy Coggins, admitting to family members, friends, and other people that they had stabbed Timothy over 38 times. Frankie and William had been proud of what they had done to Timothy, and to them it was like a badge of honor. Their main motive was that Tim had allegedly been fooling around with Frankie's girlfriend, who was later revealed to have been a woman by the name of Ruth Elizabeth Gay, aka Mickey. It is said that Mickey left the state after Timothy's death and later passed away in 2010. One witness said that Frankie Gabhart had bragged to them about dragging a nigga down the street because he was talking to a white woman and how he missed the old days when he could kill a nigga for no reason. He also threatened his ex-wife that if she kept it up, she would end up like that nigga in the ditch. A few witnesses even said that he bragged about the crime literally a few hours after they committed it. After 34 years, witnesses finally decided to come forward. They claimed to have been intimidated by the 2 men, which is what took them so long to say anything. Since the original evidence found on the day Tim was discovered had disappeared throughout the years, authorities received a warrant to dig up the well at Frankie's home, and that's when they discovered lots of physical evidence, which was a pair of Adidas shoes like the ones Timothy was likely to be wearing on the night he vanished, a white t-shirt that appeared to be torn by multiple stab marks, and an old broken knife. In October 2018, the Spalding County Sheriff's Office announced the arrest of Frankie Gabhart and Bill Moore Sr. in the connection to Timothy's death. Officer Lamar Bunn and his mother Sandra Bunn were also charged with obstruction in the case, along with Gregory Huffman, who was a detention officer with the Spalding County Sheriff's Office. This is a very unfortunate case. It seems to me that a lot of the evidence was right in front of them. It just took someone who was serious to actually solve it. The excuse given for the lack of investigation in 1983 was that there had only been 2 officers working the case, and one of those officers being Gregory Huffman, who, as you can see, was also charged for tampering with evidence, along with Sandra Bunn, who is Frankie's sister, and her son Lamar Bunn. 35 years later, and authorities are finally calling this a hate crime. If you like this video, make sure you check out the video in the description, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications, and we shall meet again for the next video.